Right now, you can reach out and flip a switch. A room that was dark a moment ago suddenly bursts into light. It feels ordinary, almost invisible. You never stop to think about how strange that really is. Because for most of human history, darkness won. When the sun disappeared beyond the horizon, the world slowed down. Conversations ended, work stopped, doors closed, and entire cities surrendered themselves to the night. Now imagine a different history. Imagine that somewhere in the year 1526, a curious craftsman notices something unusual. A spark, tiny, brief, gone in an instant. Most people would ignore it, but this person doesn't. They spend years chasing that mystery, experiment after experiment, failure after failure, until one day, the spark obeys. At first, nobody understands what has happened. The discovery seems small, almost pointless. A strange force trapped inside wires and metal, a novelty, a curiosity, a trick. But history has a habit of hiding revolutions inside small moments. And this tiny spark is about to change everything. Within a few years, workshops begin glowing after sunset. Not with flames, not with candles, but with steady light. For the first time, darkness loses its authority. Markets stay open long after nightfall. Children continue learning after the sun disappears. Writers fill page after page beneath bright lamps. Knowledge begins moving faster, and once knowledge accelerates, everything else follows. Soon, messages no longer travel at the speed of horses or ships. A merchant standing hundreds of miles away can send information across great distances almost instantly. Prices change, trade changes, entire industries change. A farmer learns what distant markets need before harvesting crops. A trader knows where shortages exist before competitors do. The world begins shrinking, not physically, but economically. Communities that once felt isolated suddenly become connected. And with every connection, new opportunities emerge. Inventors begin building devices powered by this strange force. Simple machines at first, then more ambitious ones. Tasks that once required dozens of workers can now be completed by a handful. Production increases, goods become cheaper, cities expand, workshops transform into enormous centers of manufacturing. And as machines multiply, a new question appears. If electricity can power tools, what else can it power? The answer arrives faster than anyone expects. Transportation changes next. Roads once crowded with animals begin sharing space with experimental vehicles. Rivers and canals become pathways for electrically assisted transport. Travel becomes faster, safer, more reliable. Journeys that once took weeks begin taking days. People move farther, trade spreads wider, ideas travel faster. Entire regions become interconnected. But perhaps the greatest transformation happens inside the human mind. Knowledge no longer remains trapped in one place. A discovery made in one city can reach another before the week ends. Scientists begin building upon each other's work almost immediately. Progress that once required generations now happens within decades. Medicine advances first. Healers gain access to new instruments. They begin studying the human body in ways never before possible. Hospitals become brighter, cleaner, more effective. Diseases that once terrified entire populations slowly lose their grip. Life expectancy rises, families grow, cities become larger than anyone imagined possible. And as populations expand, architecture evolves, buildings stretch higher, roads become wider. Entire districts are designed around electric infrastructure. The night sky changes too. Where darkness once ruled, glowing streets now weave through expanding cities. Travelers approaching from afar see something extraordinary. Not scattered points of fire, but oceans of light. Civilization itself begins shining. Culture transforms alongside it. Public performances continue long after sunset. Musicians experiment with new instruments. Artists create works illuminated by brilliant electric displays. Storytelling evolves. Entertainment evolves. The rhythm of life changes. People are no longer governed entirely by daylight. For the first time, human activity becomes almost continuous. But every revolution creates new problems, and this one is no exception. The communities that master electricity first become extraordinarily powerful. Their industries grow faster. Their economies become stronger. Their influence expands. Others rush to catch up. Competition intensifies. Resources become more valuable. Knowledge becomes more guarded. And as technology advances, so do the tools of conflict. Defensive systems become more sophisticated. Communication networks coordinate forces with unprecedented speed. Machines designed for industry are readapted for entirely different purposes. The same electricity that powers hospitals also powers weapons. The same networks that spread knowledge can spread fear. Progress becomes a double-edged sword. Humanity races forward, but wisdom struggles to keep pace. By the time 3 centuries pass, this alternate world no longer resembles the one we know. Cities glow brighter than stars. Machines perform tasks once considered impossible. Global communication has become routine. Scientific discoveries arrive one after another. The pace of innovation feels unstoppable. And then something remarkable happens. The people living in this world begin asking the same question we ask today: what comes next? Because every generation believes it has reached the peak of progress. And every generation is eventually proven wrong. Perhaps they begin exploring the skies earlier. Perhaps they unlock advanced computing centuries ahead of schedule. Perhaps medicine eliminates diseases that still challenge us today. Or perhaps they face entirely new problems we cannot even imagine. The truth is, a single discovery made 500 years early would not simply change history. It would create an entirely different civilization. Different cities, different technologies, different cultures, different possibilities. The modern world might arrive centuries sooner, or it might become something completely unrecognizable. All because one curious person refused to ignore a tiny spark. And that raises an even bigger question. How many future revolutions surround us right now, appearing just as small, just as insignificant, and just as easy to overlook? Because history is often changed by empires, sometimes by inventions. But every now and then, history changes because someone notices a spark that everyone else ignored. One discovery, 500 years earlier, and history becomes something entirely different. So what do you think? Would electricity in 1526 have created a better world or a more dangerous one? Let us know in the comments and subscribe to DRAW for more fascinating what-if scenarios. Thanks for watching.